Alright, I got another video and I'm really excited for this one. Um, this is my computer rebuild, which, by the way, I did not really plan this. I built a PC. I've been building PCs my whole life and I'm old. So every few years I build a new one, but the thing of it is I just don't really game that much on PC. It's just not my favorite way of gaming. I prefer console gaming. I prefer sitting on a big couch with my 65-inch HDR TV and my Dolby Atmos surround sound bar and my Xbox One X. And I like the controller better than mouse and keyboard. Controller's superior system for most, only FPS and like real-time strategy really play better on mouse and keyboard. And of course the MMORPG. Like third-person action games like Batman, Last of Us, they all play better on a keyboard. On a mouse. On a controller. Beat 'em ups play better on a controller. Street Fighter 2 definitely plays better on a controller. The vast majority platformers, no contest, they play 50 times better on controllers. I would say that the vast majority of games play better on controllers, but there's all this PC snobbery out there, so you never hear about that. But anyways, I prefer gaming on controller. Comfy couch, whatever. So it's been kind of I love building PCs. I'm a nerd. I get obsessed with stuff, but I'm not really able to. I know it's a waste of money because there's no reason for me to spend a bunch of money and build a powerful gaming PC, and I don't game really, pretty much hardly at all anymore on my PC. I do like to have the capability to game, so I have a decent graphics card, a AMD RX 570. Which has actually been an amazing value. I got it for like $129. I got a video on it. It's amazing because I don't care about 60 FPS most times. And it still plays almost everything like at 30 FPS high on my 1440p native monitor. And it was 8 gigabytes of RAM and it was like $129. Great deal. AMD really putting out amazing deals these days. So, yeah, I got that some time ago, maybe a year or two, maybe 6 months to a year ago. I don't remember. I started realizing just how far my last build was a i5 6600K. It doesn't seem to me, in 16 gigs of DDR4, and I have a setup of a 128 gigabyte SSD. Because when I was buying, that was like the fairly cheap spot. I imagine it was like $100 even. And then it's a Crucial MX4 SSD, and then I have a 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive for storage backup, and which I don't even use really. I'll get into that more as well. So yeah, that's what I got, and in a case. And I've never liked the case very much. That's one thing I may get into. So I'm really glad I got this new case. I don't know why, but this case, I didn't hate it. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not thrilled with it. My brother got a Corsair case around the same time, and it was so much better. It was just more expensive, and I just always kicked myself for why didn't I spring the $100 for the Corsair case? I would have been a lot happier. But basically, I got a new case, and part of it is I think to me, I try to make it like cool. Every time I build a new PC or something, I want something to know I have a new PC, because if you just put a new CPU in or whatever, you may not even really notice it if you're just a light user like I am. Oh, I talked about how I don't game. I also don't do any work on my computer, so all I do is web surf, watch YouTube and stuff. So I don't need a lot of power. My current build of an i5 6600K is actually fine for what I do. But yeah, when I build a new computer, I like something to tell me it's a new computer, like a new case or something. It's like plus my cases get real dusty. I don't really clean them much, So after a while, it's just like a dusty piece of crap. So it will be nice to have a brand new clean case. And the case only ran like $70, 60 or $70. So I'll get into the case more. I may go ahead and start with it, in fact. So yeah, and I bought all this stuff at Microcenter, which if you don't know is a big store in Dallas. It's a big computer store. Oh, well, Dallas is the closest one to me. I think it's in major cities. It reminds me, it's the whole concept of, well, again, I'm showing how old I am here, but there used to be a store that was similar in concept called Fry's. And it's the same deal, like really, it's kind of like a Newegg in retail form. Like it has tons of computer and tech stuff, and you get the prices are like Newegg prices. They're really good prices. But it's a store you can actually go to and get stuff instead of like Best Buy is really high prices and stuff like that. And it has all motherboards and stuff for geeks, stuff for PC builders. It also has like drones, all kinds of tech, TVs, laptops. But I would say its main claim to fame is, you buy computer parts there. Like all this stuff. And the prices are really good in general. For example, I'll get into that as well, and why I purchased some of this stuff. So yeah, it's in Dallas, and I happened to be in Dallas taking somebody to the airport today. And I had been ruminating over building a PC through a Newegg order. So I thought, you know what, I'm going through Dallas, I'm going to go to Microcenter and check it out, and at least I'll get I started realizing how cheap these Ryzen CPUs are, and that I have 4 cores and only 4 threads on my CPU. And even for gaming now, it's starting to slack. Not that I game much, but still. So I saw that the Ryzen 1600AF came out, and it was 6 cores and 12 threads. So I'm sitting on 4 threads right now, and it had 12. So I'm like, man, and it was $85. And I was like, man, I get a cheap motherboard for like $80 or something. Get that Ryzen, I could just reuse my DDR RAM. I started just thinking over in my head, doing a whole build. Then I'm like, well, I only have 128 gig SSD, which I don't really use that anyways. I use it as my boot drive. And I don't really store anything on my PC. That's what I've noticed over the last few years. I just don't. I downloaded some movies, and so I have a movie folder that's like 200 gigabytes that's on the mechanical hard drive. But looking at it, I could trim it way down because there's lots of duplicates on there and stuff. Stuff where I would download like a cam release one time, and then when a 1080p DVD rip came out, I'd download that. Then maybe a Blu-ray rip came out, and I'd download that. So there's a lot of like duplication in there, and movies that I don't even give a crap about anymore because maybe I watched them back then and I never deleted them. So yeah, there's so much stuff I could trim out of that. So and that's really the only thing. Like I've only used 59 gigs out of my 128 gigs. Just checked it the other day, and it's been stationary around that time for around that amount for months and months. Because I just don't store anything on my PC locally, really. I have an MP3 collection of like 1,000 plus songs, and it takes like 2 gigabytes or something. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I don't need a lot of storage, but I did want to consolidate everything into like a 1 terabyte SSD as long as I'm at this. But I found out that the prices weren't right on that, and I'll get into it later. I'll also probably do unboxings on some of this, and that's going to be tough because I'm going to have to like put the phone down and do the unboxings because I don't have any way to hold the phone while I cut things open. So maybe, I'm not sure exactly, this video is already 8 minutes long. I don't want to make like a 7-hour video. So I'm not sure on the unboxing. I may do that separate. But, so yes, I just kind of went there and I had a vague idea what I wanted. One thing I found is that Microcenter is talking about how good deals they have. For $99 they have the Ryzen 5 2600X. And it's a 6 core 12 thread CPU as well, like the AF, but the AF only turbos to I believe 3.4, and the 2600X turbos to 4.2. So that gives you a lot greater single thread performance. Like 20-25% better just based on clock speed alone. 3.4 versus 4.2. And that's the main weakness of the 1600AF is low single core performance, single thread performance. So that was much better for only an additional $15. These are kind of good deals Microcenter has. It's $99.99 for the Ryzen 5 2600X at Microcenter all the time. And they have tons of them. They sell this shit by massive volumes. So that's what I got. And I believe it has a better cooler as well called Ray Spire Cooler. I don't overclock, so I don't care. But if you do, I believe it's like an overclocking. I mean, look at the size of that box. I believe it's an overclocking capable cooler. I don't care, again. For me personally, because I don't overclock. But yeah, that's kind of deals. And they also had, like, with any participating motherboard, you also get $20 off the combo. You buy this Ryzen 5 2600X, maybe any Ryzen CPU and any motherboard, I don't know. And this is the motherboard I got, and the motherboard selection was kind of picked through to an extent. I'm not sure how they operate, but I get the feeling like they sell just tremendous volumes. I think it's even much higher now because of the stimulus money and the coronavirus stuff and things. So a lot of the boards that I looked yesterday and it said like 10 plus in stock, or one in particular I remember, they were just not even there today. So I'm thinking they like sell out in the mornings every day or something. Like they have huge, they may have a stack of like 80, 90, 100 motherboards, So, but the one I wanted was like an Ace ASRock, and it was a just I don't care. I just wanted a major brand. I don't have any preference for any particular brand. But I wanted a B450 chipset because I don't really need an X570, and they're cheaper. And from research I've done, they're fine. I ended up actually getting a micro ATX board, which I never want to do because I just felt at some point that ATXs were more reliable. But I Googled about that and I read online that they're not more reliable. There's no difference really. These got the same quality capacitors and everything. The only difference is, as they mentioned, that most ATX boards will have 4 DIMM slots, memory slots, RAM slots, and most micro ATX boards will only have 2. So right away I was like, well, then I can't, because I have 16 gigabytes of RAM and 2 8 gigabyte DIMMs, but if I want to add to that in the future, which is very possible, I'll want 4 slots, Well, this one I found, I guess there's micro ATX boards with 4 slots, because this one has that. I looked in the back and it mentions on there 4 DIMM slots somewhere. Okay, those 4X DIMMs, see? So yeah, this looks like it has all the latest and greatest. You can see all the extremely stable, this, that, and the other. I'm kind of excited about getting, whenever I get new computer stuff, it's going to be cool to get, just M2 with PCI 3.0 times 4 interface, blah, blah, blah. Oh yes, this is going to be nice. HDMI. Nice. So this board was like $79.99, I believe. I think it's a micro ATX board. It doesn't even say anywhere this micro ATX, but I believe all the ones with the B450M are. So since it has 4 slots, it should be fine. And like I said, I kind of ended up with no choice because a lot of their like better values were kind of sold out, but they had some of these, so I just grabbed it. It should be more than fine. I think it was $79.99, so it's $180 between the motherboard and CPU. But then you knock it $20 off for the combo discount. Now it's $160 for both. I mean, you cannot beat that. I mean, like I said, it's nerd prices. Sometimes even better because they kind of have doorbuster type deals like that. Well, I think the $20 off when you buy a Ryzen and a motherboard together is kind of like a all, semi-permanent special, but. So yeah, I don't know this board. I know Asus. It's interesting. I was there and the salesman was talking to somebody else, but I overheard him. And he said, yeah, all the boards are good. The only ones we get back sometimes are the ASRoCs. But, other than that, they're all good. So, I don't really believe him because I imagine they're all about the same. But I think I was actually planning to get an ASRoC when I went in there. Just because I had it in mind from looking at the website the night before. They had some for like $69.99 or something, an ATX board. ATX B450 board, but when I got there I believe it was sold out or something anyway, or I couldn't even find it on the shelves, the listing for it or whatever. But then after that, I didn't want to be easily influenced, but I did kind of feel like, no, I don't think I want to get an ASRoC board. So anyways, I ended up with Asus anyways because like I said, I had limited options for cheap there. As far as B450s and stuff, it seemed like the X570s were a lot more popular. I don't know. But they had stacks and stacks of those, so I grabbed one. They had stacks of some other stuff. Now the keyboard, this is no big deal, just that also the way I do my keyboards is I buy cheap ones. This is a Logitech, so it's not that cheap. And once they get dirty, I just chunk them and I buy a new one. And like I used to do it with corded ones, and you can get a decent corded keyboard at Walmart for like $9.99. something made sense that like you use it for a year, you know, whatever it is, and when it gets all grimy and icky, you throw it away and get it. $10, you get a brand new, perfectly clean one. Because there's no point in trying to clean something like this. To me, and it's hard anyway. I saw this Linus Tech Tips video. It was stupid. He freaking took off all the keys. You know what a pain in the butt it would be to take off every single key on here and clean it? I mean, it would be like a 3-hour job. Give me a break. Now, I guess you have to do something like that if you have a fancy mechanical keyboard or whatever that costs actual money. But I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm not a snob like Linus Tech Tips. So I really like this combo. I believe it's the same thing I have now. The mouse looks exactly the same. It's the wireless, and it all works great. You know, I haven't looked back since switching to the wireless. It's nice not to have wires cutting off your desktop. And I like this mouse too. It's just the right size. It's kind of small, but it's big enough. I like also that some of my past mouses would get really nasty because like food and junk would get in this little hole here, and also in the seams. Because the previous corded mice I had they all had like bigger seams and bigger hole around the whatever you call it, mouse wheel. So like junk would get in there and they'd get really nasty after a while. And this thing has held up really well. I've had it for like a year. Both the keyboard and the mouse. For some reason they stay cleaner. They still get gunk in them, of course, but much less, just because it's like everything's tightened up on them. Like this mouse is not near as nasty as some of my other mice that are corded that I had for a while. So I really like that about it too. But they are pretty gunked up by now. So this was $20, but it's still well worth it. You know, I only buy a new keyboard or whatever once every year or two or something. I don't know. So I'm just going to throw my old ones away. Well, I'll probably keep it. Just have like a backup, I guess, for lack of a better word. But I'll keep it. But this is the one I'm going to be my daily driver now. You know. Yeah. So that's the story. There is that just rather than taking all this time to clean my keyboards every so often, I just buy a new one. I figured I'm getting a new computer again with the whole I want it to feel new thing. Get me a new mouse and keyboard so everything will feel new and clean. I'll feel like I've got a new computer. And that was, like I said, $19.99. And I know these Logitechs work great. The SSD. This one says $69.99, but it's actually like $54. I would have to get all this stuff together. Came to $330 after tax. Everything I'm showing you, which the only other thing is this case. So like the motherboard, the Ryzen 5 2600X, the keyboard, the SSD, which is a 512 gigabyte, and the NZXT H510 case. All came to a total of $330. That's after tax, so it was like $300. Well, the SSD, like I said, it says $69.99, but it was actually like $54 or something like that. That's the wrong price. This is a 2.5-inch SSD. Now I'm a little disappointed. I thought I had got well, that's kind of a bummer. Oh well. I thought I had got an NVMe version, but it shouldn't matter the performance because both of them I couldn't decide what to do on the SSD. I wanted to go with a big honking 1 terabyte, latest NVMe PCI X times 4, but they were still priced just too high for me. And I just wanted to be frugal. I didn't want to spend a ton on this, keep it around like $200, $300, which is not bad at all for a rebuild. I'm reusing my 16 gigs of DDR RAM. It's only 2400 megahertz, but that doesn't matter nearly as much as nerds make it out. I mean, I saw this video where they're comparing like 2400 to 3600 RAM, and the difference was like in most games is like, 5 to 10 FPS. Like one would be 90 and one would be 80. Man, I don't care about that, I mean, nerds act like stuff like that. RAM speed is like so important. It barely makes any difference. I guess if you're a freak that's really worried about your last 2% performance, okay, knock yourself out. But I thought this was an NVMe form factor, though. I knew it was SATA 6 gigabytes a second. But I'm a little disappointed in that because I was thinking something really interesting is this case doesn't have any slots for optical drives or anything. And that's a new thing for me. Like I said, I've been building computers for a long time. And I still remember my first one that I built that didn't have a floppy disk. And this one is the first one doesn't have any disk drives at all in the front. And I was thinking I really don't even need a hard drive cage anymore because I'm not sure I'm going to use my mechanical drive, carry it over. So like I was just thinking of all the cool stuff. Like this will be the first one that, man, there'll be so much less clutter in the case because there's no hard drive cages anymore. And I thought this was an NVMe case, so they just screw onto the motherboard. So you don't even, but this one may need a hard drive case, I guess, since it's a SATA. Well, it may be like a SATA 3 in a literal form factor. I'll see when I open it up. I don't know if that's possible. And it doesn't say anything about NVMe. Yeah, it's a 2.5 inch. That's the key. So it is. I may have to use a cage then. Darn it. I was kind of hoping to not have to use a hard drive cage and have much less clutter. I didn't think about it at the time. I didn't even really notice it. I just kind of assumed. Darn it. That's another problem with all this. It's like if you want to return something, it's like a 2-hour drive to Dallas for me, and I hate driving. I ain't going to do it again. Well, it's like an hour and a half drive maybe. But so returning stuff would be a pain in the ass, so I'm kind of stuck with what I got. So yeah, that's what I ended up just going with this because it was like $54 and it should be a good upgrade of whatever the old ass SSD I have. And yeah, it's not the terabyte I wanted, but 512 gigabytes is decent. That should be enough for some stuff. And then also maybe like one game, as big as games are nowadays. You know, maybe 1 or 2 games on there. And I can always, that's the thing, when SSD prices get where I want them, I can always upgrade that, you know. Just for now, I can put this in and probably transfer pretty much everything. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to carry over my mechanical. I thought I wasn't going to because I wasn't going to have a hard drive cage. Now that I just realized I'm going to have a hard drive cage because of this guy, well, now we're back to square one. But anyways, okay, now for some unboxings. Oh, the case was also about $69.99, I believe. And I just saw this one in a build I saw. But when I looked at this in the store, man, it looks so nice. And sometimes products just grab me, and I'm a big sucker for like superficial how things look, whether it's, you know, cars or whatever. Sometimes they're guns or anything. Sometimes something just grabs me and I just want it so bad. And this case was like that. It was so cool, and it was also really affordable. But it looked better to me than probably any case in there, even the, you know, the $300 cases, whatever. And it was $69.99, so I was like, I'm grabbing that. You know, this is another one of those, like, I want my computer to feel new, and in a new case, it will seem new. But there was one fly in the ointment that kind of bugs me, and that was that this thing comes in 2 trims, right? It was a solid black version that was on display, and then there's a version with a white border, which I already saw in the video making a budget PC build with this thing. And you can see I ended up having to get the one with the white border. There, you can kind of see how it's going to look in there. It has just a white bottom. I don't like that. But I think it's going to look really good in person. Yeah, the story about that was this was like the only one under the display model. And there's like a lot of people browsing the store, so I was afraid somebody was going to grab it. I was afraid they were going to sell out of it, basically. And I knew I really wanted it, and I really wanted to complete my build that day, and, you know, not have to wait. I didn't want to have to mail or anything. I needed to get everything all in one go, you know. So I needed to get the case I wanted. So I actually kind of hid it. I took it and put it over under another case, so that hopefully no one would notice, because I didn't want to lug it around while I was browsing. It was like the first thing I looked at. Well, when I went up to the guy, I was like, do you possibly have that case in black? One of the assistants. They have a cool system at the Microcenter where they will like go through you with your build and print out everything you need and stuff, and then you take it to the front desk when you pay. And like some stuff you'll have in your cart, but some stuff like the CPUs and stuff they'll give you at the register. Kind of hard to explain, but it works nicely. You know, they kind of have like an advisor that'll kind of sit there and help you with everything. But me, I already knew exactly what I wanted, so. And then he'll print out what you need and stuff, and he'll go collect it all. Or some of the stuff will be at the register when you get up there with your printout. They've kind of streamlined everything because they're a really high volume operation. Me, I didn't have to do much because I already knew pretty much what I was looking at. And I'd already looked through everything. But okay, so this case was there, so when the guy was helping me, I was like, so do you happen to have that case in black? And he's like, oh yeah, we got it in black. We got a bunch of them. We got a whole bunch of them in the back or whatever. Or, you know, our storage area, whatever they call it, the warehouse, I don't know. So I was like, okay. So he's like, okay, I'll get your stuff together, and he just wandered around, and I'll find you when I'm done. So but then he comes back, and I right away was afraid because he was like, well, I'm having some trouble finding that case in black, but I think I'm gonna be able to get it for you. Just sit tight, and I'll get the. And then he comes back. Well, to be honest, sir, I guess we're out of that case. And I was like, well, I guess I'll take the white one. So that kind of bums me because it really did look so cool in all black. It like made the build to me, and now I'm stuck with the white version. But I really had no choice. Nothing else looked that cool, and nothing else was in the price range that looked that cool, and I had to get everything in one swoop because I wanted to put it all together. So I had no option really. I had to just get it. So I did, and I haven't even seen it, but I think it's still gonna look really cool. I think it's still gonna be fine. Not precisely what I wanted, and I think it's cool that it has no, CD drive or anything. The front is just like flat panel, because remember, there's no CD drives anymore. And I try to think of if I need a CD drive anymore, and no, not really. I don't even think mine works. I certainly haven't used it in years. So that's cool. My first build without a CD drive. And so everything else is carrying over. The power supply, I hope there's no issue with the power supply. It sucks it's going to be kind of dusty, but I'm not spending $50 to $100 on a new power supply just for some dust. I might do that for the case here, but not the... I'm carrying over the power supply, the RAM, and I guess that's about it. What else goes in a computer these days? Yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, and the graphics card. And so the next thing is I'm going to do some unboxings, because I don't know how to splice together videos at all. Yes, I'm that dumb. And yes, I'm not bad at editing, or I don't know how to edit at all. I think I'm going to just go ahead and put the phone down and cut open. So the screen's going to go black for a second when I put it down in this bed, and then I'm going to get my knife and cut open the boxes, and you'll be seeing the stuff at the same time I do because I haven't opened it. Really, the only thing I care about looking at greatly is the case. I can have a pretty good idea what the CPU is going to look like and so on. Oh, while I'm talking, I'll say that a copy of Windows is another thing that I didn't get, but it should be good. I should be able to transfer it to a legit copy. So don't worry about that. Alright, here's the case. Fresh unboxing. And as I said, I saw this in another video. And I liked it. And it was only 69 bucks. So here it is. Oh, this is an actual white case. I'm almost more bummed than ever. It's not even black. It's a white case. I'm a little bummed, but I guess I'll get over it. And it should have a lot of modern features, though, that I'm not used to. Like, I believe in the video that they're putting together, I saw it has integrated motherboard standoffs, although I haven't seen. Like, normally you screw down your standoffs and you screw in your board. I don't believe you even have to screw it in. It looks really sharp. Windowed, which I don't love, but look at the front. There's nothing on it. Cool. I don't love that it's white, but it'll be fine. I've never really had a white case before, and it is what it is, I guess. There's nothing I can do. I'm a little bummed. I thought it just had white trim, like a white bar down here, and the rest of it's black. The back's black at least. But yeah, dang, that is kind of a bummer. Kinda in real time ticked off here. There's the top with your USB and stuff. There's nothing I can do. I could probably return it, but I'm not driving back to Dallas to return it. I'm not waiting a long ass time for Newegg to ship me something. So guess what? It looks like I've got a white PC. Other than that, I love the case. I'm really excited to get a modern case. With several years of improvements in ease of use, And I noticed it has a lot of room for the graphics card right there. It's kind of a small case compared to some of the other ones there. But if you don't put a hard drive cage in, you can put the hard drive cage up here. Then you have 1.5 foot for your graphics card. Like, that's not a worry. And like I said, it comes with a fan, but only one. That's kind of a bummer too. Unless there's another one down here, which I think there is. Hard to say. No, that's some sort of. Looks like the hard drive cage is down there. This only comes with one fan too. Huh. Guess that's not a big deal. They probably just figured that there may be another fan somewhere. I'll have to look. I don't see one in the box. Like I said, you're seeing things. Oh yeah, there's the integrated standoffs. Well, I don't know if you can make it out, but standoffs are like already there. You don't have to put them in yourself. And that's a cool new thing they didn't have 5 years ago last time I built the PC. I do not see a second fan. That's kind of weird. I sure don't want to reuse my old dusty fans. I guess I'm going to not have a ton of fans in this thing. Not sure which way whether that's sucking it in or out. But yeah, there it is. It's a nice case. I wish it wasn't white, but I guess, as I stated, what are you gonna do? It's mine now. Alright, there's that. I'm a little bummed, but it is cool. Oh, there's a fan on top. Okay. I guess 2 fans should be enough. Now to open the ryzen. We're at the 31-minute mark in this video. As I said, I'm unboxing this stuff at the same time. I mean, you're seeing this stuff at the same time. There's the ryzen. There's the CPU. Neat. There's the cooler. Installation instructions. I should have some thermal paste because I had to buy some recently. I think it's fine. There's the cooler. Pretty big guy. Nothing huge, but pretty big. Should be nice. Should be more than fine. Imagine there's thermal paste in there somewhere. There's the CPU. Still kind of bummed about this dang case, though. I mean, it's sharp, but I wish it was black. Oh well, I have to get over that. I don't think there's a need to really look at the SSD because it's an SSD, but hold on, I'll pop it open anyway. And there's the SSD in all its glory. Definitely don't need to open the keyboard. You've seen one of those before. Now for the motherboard, which is not sealed, I just noticed, but no big deal. It's clearly new. There is the motherboard. I'm not even sure it's a micro ATX. It's a pretty big board. Is that even a micro ATX? I noticed it doesn't say anywhere it's a micro ATX, but I thought everything with the M suffix was a micro ATX. Doesn't even mention it on the front. Doesn't say whether it's ATX or not. But yeah, there's the motherboard looking cool. I may do a video when the computer's all done or whatever. Still a little bummed about the case, but I'll have to live with it. Or eat $60, $70, or drive 3 hours back to Dallas, which is not worth it. Or 3 hours round trip. Alright, so that's my build out and unboxings.